Among the most iconic and recognizable heroes in all of cinema, Indiana Jones has thrilled audiences with his adventures since his first film, Raiders of the Lost Ark, in 1981. From dodging boulders to escaping harrowing traps and hanging off the side of tanks, Indiana Jones has done it all. He's even survived a nuclear explosion. Maybe that's best left for a different video. But what is it that made Indiana Jones the pop culture icon he is today? After all, the westerns and adventure serials that inspired George Lucas and Steven Spielberg to create the character were a dime a dozen. So what made their professor by day, archaeologist by night stand out? Was it simply the cool outfit, the death-defying stunts, maybe John Williams' incredible score? Or was it just the charm of Harrison Ford? Naturally, all these factors played huge roles in Indy's success. However, when it comes to the art of filmmaking, the most important factor is, well, the filmmaking, telling the story through the visual medium, and in this case, crafting an icon through clever visuals. In this video, I'll talk about 3 key filmmaking techniques that helped elevate his standing from a fun throwback character to one of the greatest characters ever put to film. So let's start at the beginning. When introducing an iconic character, their entrance onto the screen needs to have weight and visually convey that there is something special about this character, as well as give the audience an insight into who he is. And in each Indy film, this is done by Indy entering the frame from off-camera, left or right, and then sitting on that shot, giving the audience time to lock onto his profile, all the while keeping his face concealed from the camera, either blocking Indy with his back to the camera, or by keeping his face left in shadow, before a very theatrical and dramatic reveal. The opening scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark waits a full 3 minutes before finally revealing Indy's face, building up the mystique around his character, filming his medium and wide shots from behind, and then cutting only to insert shots of his hands as he makes his way through the rainforest. The entire opening scene is perhaps one of the best in all of cinema, keeping audiences engaged through suspenseful scenes, leading to Indy's end goal of the Golden Idol. And it does so all while revealing some basic information about his character, his resourcefulness, intellect, bravery, purely through the visuals, as there is very little, almost no dialogue throughout it, which, when contrasted against many modern films where the audience is flat out told what to think about the heroes, it's all the more impressive, exemplifying the old adage of show, don't tell. Next, let's look at how Indy is presented during the action and adventure scenes, arguably the most important aspects of the adventure film. Indy is kept in the center of the frame during his action scenes, regardless of the type of stunt that's being performed. This keeps the viewer's eye fixed directly on Indy, a technique later also used by George Miller in his action extravaganza, Mad Max Fury Road. Spielberg also shows his mastery of the language of film and the importance of moving shots versus static shots, not only during the quieter moments of the film, but also during action scenes, with the camera movement generally being motivated by the emotion of the scene rather than simply by action itself. Where many modern action films keep a constant motion of the camera to enhance the tension, for Indy, it's typically reserved for emotionally weighty moments, and opts for less movement, allowing again for the focus to be on the hero. Lastly, let's look at how Spielberg creates a larger-than-life visual association with the character, making him recognizable even from afar. He does this in a way that, at the time, was a bit unconventional, utilizing both harsh shadows outlining Indy as well as his silhouettes in a variety of ways. While generally used as a technique to invoke fear over a villain, like in classic film noir or a monster flick, in the Indy films, Spielberg often casts hard shadows of Indy, whenever logical to do so, to show his larger-than-life presence that he has, even amongst the other characters in the film, flipping the classic technique on its head and using it to great effect. Whether that's in the bar scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, or the rescue scene in Last Crusade, or even his introduction in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In a similar way that he repurposes that classic technique of using hard shadows, Spielberg also uses Indy's silhouette in the same manner. Where this technique, created by backlighting the subject, previously had been used mostly either as a romantic or a horror lighting technique, Here, it's used to reinforce the visual profile of the character in a variety of ways, based on the scene. Sometimes it's large and filling up much of the screen, portraying the adventurous, conquering side of Indy, or it's small, taking up only a tiny portion of the frame, showing a humble man caught under the power of God and in way over his head. Or even used as a fake-out gag, revealing the true Indy spying just off camera, like in the introduction from Last Crusade. With Spielberg constantly going back and referring to shots of Indy's silhouette, it reinforces the notion that the character transcends the story, transcends the film, and even the actor himself, showing that while Harrison Ford's portrayal of Indy is irreplaceable, perhaps anyone could wear the hat, which, if you don't already know, was in fact almost worn by Tom Selleck, but due to scheduling conflicts with his hit show Magnum P.I., didn't happen. But if you want to see what could have been, look for episode 10, season 8 of Magnum P.I., Legend of the Lost Art. Indiana Jones' legacy continues to live on with its 5th installment set to release soon, thanks in no small part to some incredible filmmaking techniques.
That belongs in a museum!